The study of mythology gives a basic sort of cultural literacy that focuses on classics and history to some degree, looking at the way stories were formalized and at the content of Asian mythology can tell us about the purposes it serves to the people. So, I am going to tackle myths as entertainment and myths that politicize opinion. The subjects of myths reflect the universal concerns of mankind throughout history: birth, death, the afterlife, the origin of man and the world, good and evil, and the nature of man himself. A myth taps into a universal cultural narrative, the collective wisdom of man. An excellent illustration of the universality of these themes is that so many people who have had no contact with each other create myths that are remarkably similar. So, for example, cultures worldwide, from the Middle East to the distant mountains of South America, have myths about great floods, virgin births, and the afterlife. Myths are not always optimistic due to the nature of life. The essence of myths is such that they are as often warnings as promises, as often laments as celebrations. Many myths are instructive and act as a guide to social norms, taking on cultural taboos such as incest and greed. Myths are also pervasive in the arts and advertising for a very simple reason. From the film to cars to perfume, advertising uses visual metaphors to speak to us. While artists of every generation reinterpret myths, the same basic patterns have shown up in mythology for thousands of years. A name, phrase, or image based on a familiar myth can speak volumes to those who have been absorbing these myth tales since birth. When we hear the expression, "Beware of Greeks bearing gifts," or when we see a television commercial featuring a wooden horse full of soldiers, we recognize the reference to Odysseus, who tricked the Trojans into admitting an army into their city this way. Myths explain the nature of the world and life. Thus, many people have tales to explain the origins of places and objects. Study the mountain, the temple, the tree, and even the stone. They serve to instruct. For example, the quest of archetype is typically a journey where the hero or heroine must overcome their own faults and weaknesses in order to re-emerge as a mature, productive member of their society.